Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, and city officials. Streaming audience, I would like to welcome you all to the June 27th Chiillicothe City Council meeting. We have 20 items on our agenda this evening. We're meeting here at Chambers with safety restrictions and public attendance with streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Moving forward, if you would, Ms. Moss, please continue with the roll call of the members.
Anthony Phillips. Payne. Nickerson.
Here.
Farrow.
Here.
Henderson. Park.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Greg Phillips. Prohl.
Here.
Henderson.
Here. President Geringer,
Yes.
I question whether or not we should be having this public meeting due to the amount of people in here, the COVID numbers that are rising, the fact that the elevator isn't working.
Any other council members share Ms. Nickerson's concerns? Any members of the public audience that feel uncomfortable, please use safety precautions, or streaming services are up this evening on Facebook and YouTube. Ms. Park. Yes. Is that better? Is it louder now? Perfect. Ms. Park.
I'd like to know what code is.
81. Right next to the door. Yeah, no worries. Mr. Greg Phillips had notified us that he would be absent tonight. Do we have a motion to excuse Mr. Anthony and Mr. Greg Phillips? Motion by Ms. Payne, seconded by Ms. Henderson. Roll call on the motion for excuse.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Are we doing these along party lines tonight, like last time, or can we just vote normally?
Just a yes or no vote.
Just yes, then.
At this time, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, everyone. The minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed for review. Is there anyone that has any additions or corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as they are? I have a motion from Ms. Payne, seconded by Ms. Henderson. Roll call on the motion to accept the minutes.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
The minutes have been accepted. Well, now,
Mr. Geringer,
yes.
I would like to request Kennedy Moss, our clerk, has given us minutes from the special council meeting from June 16th. She did not get those completed in time, and I would like to waive the 3-day receipt rule on those minutes from Friday. I'd like to make that motion.
Motion to waive the 3-day, seconded by Ms. Henderson. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-day receipt rule.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Roll call on the acceptance of those minutes then. We on the same page? All right.
Yeah. Prohl.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Nickerson.
I haven't had a chance to read them, so no.
Okay. Payne.
Yes.
Roll call on the acceptance of the minutes for the special meeting have been accepted. We'll now move on to reports of our committees. We'll begin with the Community Affairs Committee. In the absence of Mr. Greg Phillips, Mr. Farrow.
Mr. Greg Phillips, Chair of Community Affairs, asked me to read. They have one item on the agenda, item number 2, which is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Hope Partnership and appropriating $20,000 for the Ross County Reentry Coalition. That's all they have on the agenda and nothing new for Community Affairs to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Next, we'll move on to Human Resource Committee. Ms. Payne.
Thank you, President Geringer. I do have 2 new assignments. We had 2 committee meetings tonight, one on each one of these. The first is assignment 22-064, and it's appropriation of funds for contracted employees. And this was from the engineering department. They've had to contract out through for code enforcement and IT. And so you will see on the next agenda those appropriations. And I will probably ask that we waive the 3-read rule on those so that those bills can be paid. The second is assignment 22-067, and it's health board assignments. We did meet this evening to discuss how we were going to do this. We are going to have another meeting Wednesday evening at 4 o'clock in the city building conference room. Thank you. That concludes my information.
Thank you. Moving on to the Development Committee. Ms. Nickerson.
Thank you, President Geringer. I believe we have one item on the agenda, number 4, the first reading, a resolution authorizing the appropriation of funds in the amount of $7,709 as participating local funds for the Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission on behalf of the City of Chiillicothe for 2023 and declaring an emergency at that time. So, and also I wanted to announce a couple of committee meetings coming up, one on street closure process and fees, July 11th at 5:30 here in council chambers. Also, an assignment regarding public arts committee following the previous meeting. And that's all development has to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, our Finance Committee. In the absence of Mr. Phillips, Ms. Henderson.
Finance has 2 items on the agenda this evening. Item 16, an ordinance appropriating $9,514.85 in insurance funds received as security as the result of a structure fire at 375 West Water Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. On this one, the money was being held by the city for the homeowner. The homeowner has met all of the requirements. Now we want to release that money back to the homeowner, and I will request a waive of the 3-read at the appropriate time on that one. And the second one is item 18, a resolution adopting the tax budget for the City of Chiillicothe for the calendar year beginning January 1, 2023, submitting the same to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. And Crystal, were we going to do a waive on that one? Okay. And that is all Finance has.
Thank you. Next, Park and Recreations Committee with Ms. Henderson.
We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is item number 1, which is a 3rd read of a street closure for Oktoberfest hosted by Downtown Chiillicothe on October 8th. A couple exciting things coming up here soon. The Ohio Jeep Fest is coming this weekend, and next Monday will be the 4th of July celebration in Yaktangi Park with fireworks starting approximately 9:30 p.m. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Next, the Safety Service Committee. Ms. Preston.
Thank you, President Geringer. Safety Service has 9 items on the agenda tonight. It's going to be 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. At the appropriate time, I'm going to ask to waive the 3-read rule as well as on number 19. We did have a committee meeting this evening. And there were two requests. One was from Judge Eddy at the municipal court in regards to allocating funds for the door that they have over there. It needs some remodeling and some updates. And then the other one was a request from Crystal or Miss Spetnagel in regards to update of non-bargaining pay for the fire chief and the captains, or police captain, fire assistant chief, and the police chief and the fire chief. And so that was approved from committee to go on to legislation. That's all I have this evening.
Next two reports will come from Engineering and City Services and Transit, both headed by Mr. Farrow.
Thank you. On behalf of Transit and City Services, we have nothing on the agenda and nothing new to report. On behalf of the Engineering Committee, we have 4 items on the agenda. Number 3, which is an ordinance accepting the relocation of a drainage easement and declaring an emergency. Number 7, an ordinance declaring a real and present emergency, waiving the formal bidding and advertising procedure with regard to the city administration building boiler project and declaring an emergency. Waiving this will allow us to hopefully get a contractor picked for the project, as well as get the project completed prior to winter time when we will need the boiler. We also have number 8, which is an ordinance reappropriating funds for the 2019 CDBG formula allocation grant and declaring an emergency. That is for the Watt Street sidewalk and street repair, so that will allow us to get the contractor paid. Sorry, we have 5 items on the agenda tonight. We also have number 9, an ordinance appropriating $36,730 for flood wall pump repairs and declaring an emergency. Again, this will allow us to pay the contractor so they continue doing work with us in the future. And we also have, last but not least, number 17, an ordinance declaring real and present emergency and waiving the formal bidding and advertising procedure with regard to the sewer repair project at the intersection of Water and Watt Streets and declaring an emergency. Waiving this will allow us to knock 2 months, 3 months off of the project just for bidding and advertising purposes. And that way we can get a contractor in there, get the repairs to the sewer line made, and get the streets back open. And that will be it for us. Thank you.
Finally, Utilities Committee. Mr. Prohl.
Utilities does not have any items on tonight's agenda. However, we did hold a Utilities Committee meeting earlier this evening to talk about the water and sewer rates study. We had CT consultants come in and look at our water and sewer funds. Now, water and sewer, for those of you in attendance or at home, might find it interesting that they are enterprise funds, and that means that they must fund themselves rather than relying on general fund. So your water and sewer bills go directly to paying for water and sewer. So to make sure that we continue to offer quality service in both of those departments, we are looking at eventually upgrading some of the physical plants, and that may constitute some changes to water and sewer rates in the future. Tonight's meeting was more about the process that will be before us, and gave us some groundwork that we can use to take and choose a path forward. But that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to reports of our officials, our mayor, Mr. Luke Feeney.
Thank you, President Geringer. Thank you, Councilman Prohl, for the tech support. Just some comments on tonight's agenda. I think Councilman Greg Phillips mentioned this at the last meeting, but item 2, actually, I don't think involves the Reentry Coalition. So I just want to clarify that. I don't think it's up for read tonight, but just clarify that for folks in the room. And then lumping in items 7 and 17 together. Pretty rare that we take this approach, but on both items, given one with the boiler, essentially supply chain issues. If you had been in the city building anytime this winter, you experienced our makeshift heating apparatus, and we are requesting this emergency language, which essentially allows us to go immediately to contracting for best prices on boiler replacement, as opposed to doing the more lengthy bid process. And then similarly on item 17, we're familiar with the problem there, and to go out to a traditional bid process would simply delay the repair of that sinkhole. Siri helping me. Delay the repair of that sinkhole and inevitably the street getting open and that sort of thing. So I would ask for your support on both of those items as they're presented tonight for passage. Item number 8, which is related to Watt Street, is not related to that project. However, the emergency work, it's just a matter of reappropriating grant funds to pay a final bill on Watt Street. So I'd support that one as well. In addition to the flood wall repairs, you'll recall that we had significant, that's item 9, significant repairs necessary that started last fall, and the further the contractors got into the problem, recognized some significant issues with pumps and so on and so forth. And so this is also to pay an existing and outstanding bill. And then finally on the agenda, I just want to comment on item 6, which I've attempted to collect my thoughts, sort of categorize and simplify them. And so I think I've broken them down into sort of 3 general categories. The first of which I'll just mention is the process that the legislation got in front of us. I think that, well, let me start with this. I believe that everybody on this council, everybody elected and everybody sitting in this room has the best interest of this community in mind. We would not come here on hot Monday nights and want to work hard for this community if that wasn't the case. And I believe that this legislation, as it relates to homelessness and trespass and tents, I think that every person in this room wants the same thing for this community. That's for people to not be homeless, people to have resources, and for people to have homes and be safe. And so that's coming from my heart, and I believe that the legislation in front of council tonight, I believe it all originates from the same place. And so with that, my 3 sort of categorized thoughts on the topic are this. There are a lot of people in the community who have spent way more time and energy thinking about homelessness, working with the homeless, trying to solve the issue in our community. And I'll say this issue and this problem that we're faced with is not unique to Chiillicothe. And in many ways, I think we're in better shape than many places in the country. And I'm proud to say the chief of police is a person who is also somebody who's very engaged. Just last week, he told me he was out visiting camps and developing relationships and that sort of thing. And so one of the issues or concerns I want to raise with the legislation is just the process by which we get here. I think that if we want to pass legislation that helps to end homelessness, I think we have a lot of resources in this community that can help us get there and develop language that can be proactive and helpful and legislate around the issue. So I would have loved to have seen the chief be able to be involved in committee meetings, help us work through the creation of the language. Item C has 3 ands or 2 ands. Should they be ands or ors? And just working through those sorts of things. So that's a committee meeting sort of process question around the creation of the language. And then the second thing is just for me as sort of the top manager of the city is the logistics around our law enforcement enforcing this law as written. As I review it, and then I tried to get my head around it, and then talk to the chief and think about how we would go about proving or interviewing somebody and proving that they have no alternative lodging and they have insufficient resources and they're unable to secure free services. That, I believe, can be a challenge for law enforcement. And I won't speak for the law director, but on the prosecution side, I think also could be challenging. And then I think about the time commitment from the police officers and just in terms of me as a person who's focusing on managing resources, I have concerns there. And I think at the end of the day, the thing that in my heart is really the ultimate is to me what this ultimately is or feels like is a step towards criminalizing being homeless. And for me, in my heart, that just feels wrong. And like I said, I believe that we are all working for a better community. And that's why I believe a different process could lead to language that is beneficial. I think the process related to item 2, which I mentioned earlier, which funded the Hope Partnership in the amount of $20,000, or will fund, I believe, this year, that source of resource allocation has the potential to make significant strides towards helping the problem, more so potentially than the language we have here. And so I tried very hard not to speak for anybody other than myself, but for those reasons that I listed, those are the reasons that I oppose item number 6. With that, some comments for items that are not agenda items. We had a great week last week dealing with community engagement. We had 2 evenings of participation, thanks to the First Baptist Church and the Ross County Service Center for hosting us. Folks came up and just gave us their ideas, and it was a fun, engaging process. I want to thank directors and city employees who were there to just extract ideas from folks. And one of the ideas, or one of the topics that got a lot of interest, was in fact homelessness, and allocating resources to helping with that issue. There is one more of these events on the calendar now. There's actually 2, but one we're having to cancel. So tomorrow night, we're hoping for as many people as possible to turn out. We're on Watt Street at the Scioto Township Hall from 5:30 to 7, and we just want the public to come out and give us your ideas. Tell us what's on your mind and how we can think about fixing things. I'll just share just the types of ideas that come about that are not on the top of my mind, but what we really benefit from is one of the little ideas that came out of last Wednesday's meeting was somebody said, well, along the bike path, while you're jogging at different places, you could just put in sort of like permanent outdoor exercise equipment. So you could do whatever outside, next to a bench or something like that. I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but it had never crossed my mind. And that's the type of fun sort of engagement we're getting. But it also relates to the paving of alleys, speed on certain streets, using speed humps, so wide range. But anyway, the last scheduled meeting now will be tomorrow at 5:30 at Scioto Township Hall. The Wednesday meeting, which was scheduled for the Armory, is being rescheduled so that we make sure we have mechanical solution to the elevator not working. So please, if you can, participate. And then my last, one update, we touched on this a little bit, the sinkhole issue on Watt and Water Street, the timeline that we mentioned early on still appears to be where we're at. We're looking at least 60 to 90 days of closure and work there. Again, support council's waiver on that item tonight so we can get moving. But I can't think of an area in the city that we, like everybody else in the community and every other business, is not being affected by supply chain issues. And so we appreciate the community's patience, and we're desperate to get the situation resolved. And one thing I'll add is that we don't believe that this particular situation is indicative of problems across the city with regard to the condition of our wastewater lines. So that just to give a little bit of reassurance. And finally, on a positive note, is a week from tonight, I hope that everybody here will join us in the city park for our fireworks celebration. I'm really excited to say that this will be the biggest fireworks celebration in Chiillicothe in at least the 10 years that I've been with the city. Thanks mainly to Noon Rotary taking over the fundraising component of the fireworks display. It will be at least twice as big, bigger booms, longer finale than last year's. And there's some neat additional events. There's a community sort of fun festival that was organized by Police Officer Tim Boltonhouse that will be going on during the day. There's the pool party in the evening. And I'm also happy to say that as of today, we've confirmed that the trolley will be running on Monday to get people from downtown to the park and experience a little bit of fun. And so come downtown, do some shopping, enjoy the fireworks, and happy 4th of July to everybody. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On to our auditor, Ms. Spetnagel.
I have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is item number 18, a resolution adopting the tax budget for the city for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2023. We did hold a tax hearing, a public hearing prior to this meeting. I do have copies of the tax budget at my office if anybody's interested in seeing that, or if you have questions, you can always stop in. Other than that, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, our Law Director, Ms. Villarreal.
Thank you. We have been meeting ourselves coming and going with all the legislation that's coming through. The cases in municipal court right now are probably double what they normally are. For example, in the last 3 days, one can you hear me now? All right. Like I said, we're doing all this legislation. We're very busy in the law director's office. We also, the cases down in municipal court that we're prosecuting are probably double what they typically were, historically speaking. For example, the last 3 days alone, 1 out of the 4 prosecutors, just 1, had over 100 cases in 3 days. That doesn't even include the other 2 days that he was down there for his split week. So I'm just telling you, it's been really nuts. There's a lot of cases. You can only potentially take 1 case to trial per week. And if Tuesday happens to fall after a Monday holiday, we don't have a jury trial that day. So everything's backed up and it's crazy. And if you're down in municipal court and you have a case, I just ask that you be patient with the prosecutors because they're getting to you as fast as they can. Normally, when an attorney goes down there, they'll have 1 or 2 cases that they have to do as a defense attorney, not 50. So just understand that it's really overwhelming down there right now, and those guys are knocking themselves out, and I would appreciate your support and patience. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, reporting from Council President. I have nothing to report at this time. We'll now move to audience participation. Council Rule 22 does limit each speaker to a 5-minute presentation, total limitation of 15 minutes per any single subject. If you get to the point where you're getting close to 1 minute left, I'll try to indicate to you to summarize your presentation. And anyone who wishes to speak, we do need for records your name and home address. Thank you.
My name is Jim Bennett. I live at 153 University Avenue. Hello, friends. I know most of you. I live at Hopeton Village. I was homeless for 6 months due to a fire in the duplex where I was living. It was a difficult time, but I learned a lot. Thanks to community action and my church and help from friends and my brother, I was able to survive. I learned from those men I encountered. I learned that they are resourceful. They found ways to survive. I was fortunate to have a car and my Social Security. One thing I learned is that Sundays are especially hard in the winter. Some of them shelter at the bus station because they have learned that they can stay there. But the buses do not run on Sunday, so the station is closed. What really upsets me about the proposed legislation is that it's from above. It was written by a person of privilege, not from one who is in between homes. It's easy to diagnose what are the problems if a person has a home and have never tried to make it on the street. I am suggesting that the city undertake a study of homelessness and ask for those who are in between homes to be asked for their input and how we can help them. Thank you, Mayor, for your comments. To me, the quality of a good elected official is what they are willing to do for those who are underprivileged and may not be able to do anything for them and cannot vote. Therefore, I'm asking that you table this legislation and seek ways we can help those who are in between homes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it. My name is Dr. Stacy Saunders Adams, and I live at 3220 Cattail Road, Chiillicothe. I am here today to testify against the proposed amendment to Section 54105 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe. Adopting these changes would be dehumanizing and places the City of Chiillicothe in the position of being a contributor to larger social problems, not part of the solution. As one of the directors of the Ross County Recovery and Outreach Center, a place where we connect with the very people who will be directly affected by this short-sighted, ill-informed proposal to clean up our city, I have firsthand insight into this problem. While the obvious concern with this proposed amendment is the criminalization of the homeless, those struggling with serious mental illness, those struggling with trauma, or those struggling with substance use disorder, I have many other concerns as well. First, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. I'm going to protect his identity, so I'm going to call him Joe. Joe is in his mid-40s. As a child, Joe would have had your sympathy because at his young age, he was severely abused by his parents. In fact, one time he was even set on fire. As a result of his abuse, now he struggles with bipolar disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. He has been in and out of the psychiatric unit repeatedly in the last year and struggles with substance use disorder. He is currently homeless. He is banned from the shelter because the symptoms of his mental health disorder were often unmanageable in a dorm-style setting like our current shelter. Joe is intelligent, he is kind and compassionate, but the current resources in our community do not meet his unique needs. I'm not asking for your sympathy for Joe. I just want you to have names and faces to think of as you think about making these decisions. With this proposed amendment, Joe will likely be charged with criminal trespassing and will have to prove that he has been banned from the shelter and that he is unable to use other resources. Due to his mental health condition, he will likely struggle to coordinate and compile the documentation he needs to prove this. If he cannot prove his homelessness and that he is banned from the shelter, then he will likely be sentenced to 30 days in jail. While in jail, he will accrue fees for his stay that he will not be able to pay. Upon his release, he will have an additional criminal charge on his record that will continue to decrease his ability to find stable housing in the future. Joe's situation is not unusual. So many people in our community who are unhoused have similar experiences. In this proposed amendment, the burden of proof of homelessness and inability to use existing resources is placed on the person who is charged. Unfortunately, those who are often unhoused do not have a safe place to keep documents, don't have regular access to email, and at times don't have the cognitive capacity, and therefore will struggle to provide proof of these situations. Our city, our community, is under-resourced to respond to the unique needs of this population. We have inadequate space in homeless shelters for the quantity of those who are unhoused. The staff and volunteers who work at these shelters lack the education, training, and/or skill to manage the highly complex needs of this population, which often results in one of two things: staff who feel unsafe in their jobs or clients who get banned from the services. The resources we have in this community are expanding, but they are not trauma-informed. The open, dorm-style housing of the community shelter may not be conducive for individuals with certain trauma histories. Requiring people to use these resources instead of allowing them the self-determination to choose to sleep in a space where they feel more comfortable may exacerbate their symptoms. And finally, it is unclear what the fiscal impact of this proposed policy may be. Has there been a study done to determine what additional burden this will place on our Chiillicothe Police Department, the jail, the court system? All of these have costs associated with them, and the costs will likely outweigh any benefit, as our law director just illustrated. As I look around the room this evening, I see many professionals, concerned citizens, and affected individuals who are likely willing to work hard to find a better solution for those who are unhoused in our community. Community action, churches, First Capital Cornerstone of Change, all of these and others could work with you to find an option that will be humane and meet the needs of this population and our community. Why not work with us to find a solution to permanently find housing and stability instead of choosing the solution that only provides housing for 30 days while a person is in jail? Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a little awkward getting in here. Yeah, you can go right now if you want. Okay. You can go right after me. Does that sound good? Okay. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My name is Lisa Brooks. I represent the Coalition on Homelessness and Housing in Ohio, a statewide organization. I'm going to read a statement from the Balanced Estate Continuum of Care Director. I'm also going to reference a letter that was sent to the council today by the National Homelessness Law Center. I'm gonna quote a couple points from that letter, and I'm going to provide a copy to anyone who wants to see it. So this will be quick because I know you have a lot of really strong community folks here to speak, but your community asked that we come on behalf of the state. So I'm going to read this letter to you and give you a couple of those other points from a statewide perspective. Chiillicothe council members, we're writing today on behalf of the Ohio Balanced Estate Continuum of Care. This is the federally recognized homelessness system comprised of Ohio's 80 rural and suburban counties, including Ross County. We're here to urge you to withdraw or vote against the proposed ordinance criminalizing camping on city property. The Coalition of Homelessness and Housing in Ohio provides primary staff support to the Ohio Balanced Estate Continuum of Care, and in this role is responsible for coordinating the system's response to homelessness, including direct funding decisions, monitoring project and system level performance, and advancing best practice and service provision. The proposed ordinance is criminalizing camping on city property, does nothing to address rising homelessness and the need for additional housing. Rather, it exacerbates the problem by further criminalizing homelessness. Criminalizing people who sleep or shelter in public places threatens their health and their lives and impacts their ability to access housing in the future. In their guidance about the 7 principles for addressing encampments, the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness noted that criminalization approaches result in adverse health outcomes, exacerbate racial disparities, and create traumatic stress, loss of identification and belongings, as well as disconnecting folks from much needed services. This approach will push folks out of the community and make it harder to get resources to them. The best way to reduce unsheltered homelessness is to improve a multi-sector response that is focused on addressing the permanent housing needs of the unhoused. To that end, Ross County homelessness service providers have worked hard, including getting us here today, to connect those living outside it for available resources and to develop new resources. In fact, a new permanent supportive housing project is set to open in the coming months in Chiillicothe, but resources have not been sufficient to fully address the need, especially in the currently challenging rental market and significant lack of affordable housing all across Ohio. I encourage you to invest the funding that would have been spent on enforcing the ordinance to support the development of affordable housing in Chiillicothe instead. Please do not hesitate to reach out to the Balance of State for additional questions. I also want to make you aware from the letter from the National Homeless Law Center that there have been several other cities in the United States that have attempted this. There is no other county in Ohio that does this. This will shine a spotlight on your community in a negative way. Make sure that you are researching the laws and what has happened in other cities that have done this. You will see that it is not an effective approach. I don't want to take up any more of your time because it is clear where your community stands on this.
And hello, I just want to tell you guys I am homeless. I do stay on the streets. I do think that, you know, a lot of these schools that has been through Chiillicothe has been tore down for no reason. They could be, instead of tearing them down, they could be using them for facilities like people living on the streets. I don't know if the Ross County Jail needs money by putting people in jail. And yes, that's coming from me because that's the way I take it. How you doing, sir? Anyways, but I feel like maybe the county jail's needing money. Maybe that's why they're taking people to jail. I don't know, and I hate to say that, but if the county would drop trash bags off or barrels or you know, you can't burn stuff in the county limits, which I understand that, but trash bags would be nice. Like you can go to the train yard and bag the stuff up, and then you can take them out to where the train yard is. And they'll come pick them up with their bobcat, you know? And they've told us that before. So why do they, you know, want to take people to jail for? And, I mean, I don't have a lot to say, but that's all I'm going to say. I've had cops before buy me trash bags living in the train yard. Cops. And buy me trash bags to bag it up and tell me, bag it up, don't burn it. I'm not going to put the cops out there, but I am going to tell you right now, I've had cops buy me trash bags. Bag it up, Mr. Moore, put them out here, and we'll get rid of them. And that's the only school that is left around here. Allen, Tiffin, every one of them they've tore down. What is it? Nathan. Yep, you're very welcome.
Hi, my name's Stephen Roof. I'm homeless. I've been homeless. This July makes 19 years. I've been outside. I published my story, Homeless. My story's very rare. I walked across America 16 times on foot. I did it with no money. I did it with just a wild edible plant book. So you name it, I've been stuck there on foot. Everywhere. I've been in communities like Georgia and Florida where they made it illegal to be homeless. I watched whole families crying with their children hitchhiking. They didn't know how to get food. I did. I've been at it for so long. That's what my book is about. It's made to save lives. That's what forced me to publish it, Homeless. Teaches how to get food. Teaches how a community can put itself together and stop homelessness too. It teaches how to do it. Because I didn't just walk across America. I made sure I brought all the homeless out there with me in my book. So I explained every walk of life, from everything these people been saying, from trauma to bad parents to whatever is going on in their lives. My book explains how to stop it. And even Walmart and Target picked it up since I've been homeless. I camped in Ohio this whole winter. I remember waking up frozen to the ground. I woke up to cops asking me if I was alive or dead, at 3 a.m. So if you guys make it illegal to be homeless, I've seen the effects of it. I've seen the riots of it. I've seen the families suffering from it. And I've seen full states where all the homeless in that state are migrating when the state made it illegal. I've seen people go to jail for giving us food when we're panhandling. They get charged and the person that helped us goes to jail. What the real problem is, right here in this town, you have a guy that's been homeless since he was 13 and he is in his 70s now. You guys are talking about fixing the problem. Why are all the years just passing and you're still talking about fixing it? You should actually really fix it. I mean, it's not rocket science. If we can go to the moon, you could fix somebody's problem on the street. The reason why we do drugs, we sit there and watch the grass grow. That's all we have to do is do drugs because everybody won't talk to us. Once they see me with my backpack in this community, they won't even talk to me unless I mention my book. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Nobody's helping us exactly. Some of us are getting help. Some of us are too mentally ill to get the help. And I've seen thousands of them hitchhiking out there that are so mentally ill they don't know what to do. They're just literally lost, walking the United States, state to state. You guys have homeless in this town. That's what we call the people that basically can't travel. They don't know how. My book teaches everything. It teaches how to solve the problem. So I recommend you check out The Diary of a Drifter. All right? It's on Amazon, and I appreciate you guys.
Hi, my name is Grant Wilson. I'm an attorney with the Public Defender's Office, tasked with representing a lot of these misdemeanor offenders who also are experiencing homelessness. And I don't want to reiterate what all the speakers here have said, but they're all correct, particularly when it comes to how this will affect the court. The most likely outcome is that these individuals won't be taken to jail on a 4th-degree misdemeanor. They'll be put on probation. They'll be summoned into court. You'll have issues getting them to court. You'll have issues getting them to probation, and it'll just be an ongoing issue for the entire probably year that they are being supervised by the city. I think that criminalizing homelessness is a knee-jerk reaction to a problem that is better addressed by creating lives that people don't necessarily want to run away from, and giving them the opportunity to become people again, instead of looking at them like animals. These are human beings. They feel, they have needs, and instead of trying to create a situation where we make these people feel less human, how about we give them the resources they need to get back on their feet instead of giving them a criminal record? Thanks, guys.
Hello. My name is Whitney Till. I live at 401 Ringwald Street. I experienced homelessness when I was 6 years old. I have housed a homeless family member while taking care of my own infant. I feel compelled to say that this council is not making homelessness evil. It is not clear where the community stands on this issue, as there has not been a vote from the community itself. You are not criminalizing homelessness. Your natural empathy is being used against you. It is not the job of this council to fix every single problem that might ever occur in this community, and there is no obvious solution to this heartbreaking problem, or else it would have been done by now. I want the police to have the legislation they will need in order to interact with this difficult topic. Perhaps the wording needs to be changed. I don't know, but I want the police to have what they need. And I personally do not think that unfettered use of public space is a right for people. Thank you very much. And thank you to every council member and everyone else that works for this community very hard and cares very much. Thank you.
All right, I got a lot to say in a short time. All right, I'm 19. I'm 19. My name's Shane, and I've been I've been in and out of like rehabs, mental institutions. I was kicked out when I was 18. You feel me? I had a drug problem since I was 15, and like when you're talking about the homelessness, you're not just talking about getting up off the street. You're talking about getting deeper in the roots of their childhood and everything else. It's more of a mental problem than a physical problem. Like I can see like, yeah, like cops go back to the campsites and it's all trash and there's needles, there's everything, and no one's picking up after themselves. They're burning everything. Yeah, I can understand like, hey, like this is absurd. Like we're 20, 30s and it's just trash. You feel me? That's disrespectful for one. So I can see where they kind of like diss on that a little bit. You feel me? Because I've had them personally come up to me and say, as long as you keep it nice, you can be here. But if the cops tell you to leave, you gotta leave. You feel me? So I mean, I respect every cop. You feel me? But there's some cops where they just like to pick on us, bro. They like to sit there at Krispy Kreme and see who they can get, bro. And it's just, I don't know. But I try to stay out the way and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. It's not just simple like, hey, we're gonna open up another homeless shelter and everybody's gonna be up off the street. You feel me? It's like, there's some people out there that like to be homeless, bro. They'd rather be homeless and it's like, I don't know. It's their lifestyle. You feel me? It's a different lifestyle from y'all's. Y'all grew up, I don't know how y'all grew up, but I don't know. But it's like, I feel like some people are like dissing on us a little bit, like, hey, you see somebody laying outside of Valero, like, we're just chilling, you feel me, getting a tan on, you feel me, because we don't have no car to get nowhere, you feel me? So, I mean, there's only simple places you can go that people don't bother you and stuff, you feel me? But it's like, there's a lot of places you can go, you feel me? Like, if there's a guy here and there's another guy here versus this guy's laying in his tent, not doing nothing, burning firewood, and then that's all he's doing, making trash, doing drugs. Yeah, compared to this guy going to community action, going to counseling, trying to make it up out here to another homeless shelter, anything else, it's like, you feel me? It's not like, I'm not saying like, you feel me? Personally, I'm lazy, you feel me? But it's like I've been all over Chiillicothe, you feel me? I've been in rehab everywhere here. I've been to every what am I trying to say? Shelter and everything else. You feel me? It's just, I don't know. I mean, when you're tired, I know it's like 10 times I've said it, but it's like, I can see like, I don't know. It's like, I don't see how like our campsites, I mean, most of them are dirty because people just leave their trash there. But my campsites, like if I go camping, like if I'm camping out, I'm not going to have a trashy, you feel me? Because that's how I got arrested last time. They picked me up in the woods. And it was like, that's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into all that. But it's like, I got my problems too, you feel me? But I go out here and I'm just thinking like, man, they're more worried about what Chiillicothe looks like, making it nicer, making it all flowery, beautiful. Yeah, I get that. You feel me? It's a beautiful town. You feel me? Y'all picked it up a little bit. But the flood wall, like, I don't know what y'all doing in the flood wall. I mean, sewer something. But it's like, I put a little robot thing. If you go to Valero, there's a little, like, looks like a robot, like, light thing. I put it up there before any of the other, like, higher grade ones were up on the buildings. So it's like, it's back in like 4 years ago, and it's still up there, you feel me? I talk to it and stuff, you feel me? But it's just like, I don't know. I'm a type of person that stays outside. I'm out here in the nighttime. I'm out here in the daytime and nighttime. Oh, so it's like, I try to keep Chiillicothe alive in the nighttime, you feel me? Because it gets But it's like there's a lot of things to explore about Chiillicothe that y'all focus more on, like try to like see what's going on in Chiillicothe, because there's a lot of dark stuff that's happening in Chiillicothe that y'all don't even get aware of. You feel me? I'm not gonna say too much, but it's just like they don't even take the time to go to the campsites. Like 10 seconds. All right. Well, it's like y'all. One more thing. Y'all need to stop spending money on these drones. These drones, bro. Like that's a waste of money. All right. All right. That's it. All right. Yeah, Judge Eddie knows me. Where do they go to the restroom at? Speedway, Valero. He's talking crazy. Like I don't use the restroom personally that much. I use it about like 4 or 5 times a week. That's the thing. It's like this Fort John's stuff, park and stuff. But it's like I've had a few times where I had a pop spot over there by the alleyway and I didn't have nothing. You feel me? So it's like but it's like I mean there's places you can use restaurants. Thank you, Shane.
My name is Bill Showman. I live at 32 Hickory Street. Several of you I already sent an email to, so you know exactly how I feel on this topic. I just want to, at this point, echo what everyone else has said, because I'm pretty sure it's touched on everything that I believe and I know to be true. But there's also this piece of a lot of you are connected to real estate in some way. Surely you know that we're in a housing crisis right now. Mm-hmm. And it's just so disconnected to have this legislation in front of you right now. I'm somebody 2 months ago needed a place to live through no fault of my own. Went to an open house. It was from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I got there at 5:20. There were 8 people that had already signed in front of me. You know the only reason why I got that house? Because I saw a picture of the owner in the reflection of the mirror in the bathroom. That's how difficult housing is right now. You have to understand that. Mm-hmm. And you have to pay attention to the other cities that had done ill-informed legislation like this. And they end up having to pay out. That's all I have to say.
Good job.
Okay, put the mic in my hand. All right. All right. I came here to talk about the chickens again. And again, I got caught into another mess. The chickens, number one thing, I'm disappointed that it's the first reading tonight. We need to do something about that badly, and I think I've spoke to you guys on it already. But I've listened to all this tonight, and yes, these people need help. Yes, they have their rights, but yes, I have my rights too. Being a blind person, my husband was driving down Delano and going towards to pick his sister up on a Sunday. And there were 2 homeless people wrapped in blankets laying in front of Petland. I called the police about it. The police said there was nothing that they could do about it. But do you want us to send an officer? I said, well, I'd like them removed. I said, I'm blind. I walk with a cane. I walk down Delano. If I was to take that step up on and walk the sidewalk to Dollar General, I would have fallen over them and hurt myself. Now, they have their rights, but they should also respect. And I heard a lot of them say they keep their campsites clean, they do this, they do that. There's a lot of them that don't. There's a respect. Everything is respect. If we would all respect each other, this wouldn't be a problem. The homeless could have their place that they want to go. And I know there are people working on housing for the homeless. I know there's people putting things in, I see them when they're putting food in the bins and stuff for the homeless. I also see people that don't need it go get it. My husband has told me, and people have recognized people. But anyway, there's no perfect solution to any problem. But Chiillicothe has worked hard to get it a historical city. And our downtown is really nice now. We've worked hard on that. And we deserve to have respect from the people that are homeless to uphold that too. Because the only way they're going to get better is if Chiillicothe stays better. That's just the truth of the matter. And my church works with them. I know a lot of churches do. And we're doing our best. And they've got to understand that. And these people that stand up here and talk, they live out. They don't have to experience what we're experiencing here that choose to live in town. So, you know, everybody should respect everybody. And that's just the way it is. We've lacked respect in a lot of areas. So I hope we do find a solution to give the police, I'm like the lady from Ringwald, to give the police the right to move things like on the sidewalk. But then I also hope that everybody in this community works together to solve this problem for them, for the ones that do want to come in and have housing. Some of them don't. Some of them prefer the life they're living. So not everybody can be saved, but there are some, and if there's just one or two, it's worth trying and doing. So that's all I have to say. But I wish everybody would just respect each other. That's me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Janet Griffith, and I live on Comanche Road, 603. Thank you very much.
We're now at 30 minutes on the homeless topic. We'll move on to the next topic if it's voted on. Would we like to move on?
Rules.
Would we like to?
Suspend the rules.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion to suspend the rules. Mr. Prohl, seconded by Ms. Nickerson. Roll call on the motion to suspend rules.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Henderson. Yes.
Park. Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
15-minute per topic rule suspended. Mr. Link.
Jason Link, 17 Mead Drive here in Chiillicothe. Not here to talk about the homeless issue, a different issue. Would encourage the council to vote against item number 5, the ordinance regarding harboring animals. After last month's or 2 weeks ago's meeting, I emailed Julie Preston as well as Anna Villarreal's office with my concerns about the ordinance as it was presented and also some suggestions, not just trying to say what's wrong with it, but also providing some positive input into the conversation. There have been some changes made to the ordinance that's before the council this evening. However, the ordinance does not go far enough to allow 4-H and FFA students to house their animals on their properties. There's also continued confusing language in the ordinance. I emailed Julie Preston and Anna Villarreal my concerns about that as well. And there's also parts of the language that just lack common sense. And I think there's continued work that needs to be done on this. I would offer my services again to the Safety and Services Committee to make this the best legislation that we can. I did not know there was a committee meeting tonight, so hopefully there's a way to advertise that better so that I can be at those meetings. I'm happy to help this become the best legislation that it can be for the city. Won't take up any more time. Thank you.
My name is Donald Wilkes. I live at 156 Hanover Drive. And I want to thank the council members, Mayor Feeney, and many of the professionals that have spoken here tonight that highlight the complexity of this issue, but also comments have been made that bring to mind a cautionary tale, and that is if we allow ourselves to be stovepiped in a particular discipline and look at things from that perspective only. For example, a police person may only see everybody begins to look like a perp. If you're a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. This issue is much more complex than that and is going to take work of a number of different disciplines, resources from multiple areas, and I don't believe the way to fix this is to reinstitute debtor's prison. That's all I have to say.
My name is Linda Hoover. I live at 319 Rennick in Chiillicothe. I have worked for Ross County Community Action for a couple of years. I now work for Fayette County and Pickaway County, serving the homeless for the last 3 years. And I think a lot of you still see the face of homelessness as people who are in active addiction, people with mental health issues. And I'm going to tell you that the face of homelessness that I have seen, and at least in the last 2 years, has changed. I now see single mothers and their children living in cars, families with 2 or 3 children trying to live in tents. And what are you going to do? Are you going to criminalize them for doing the best that they can? I also see families that both parents are working. They're paying for childcare, and every dime that they have, they are paying for a stay in a hotel that they can't afford. There's no way for them to get a footing. We need to come together with agencies like Community Action, Integrated Services, Walnut Street Methodist, St. Vincent de Paul, and work together with those agencies, work together with these people that have lived experience, work together with the people who deal with the solution, with the problems on a daily basis to come to a right moral decision. And I have to tell you, I've lived in this town again for about 40 years. I lived here as a kid, came back 40 years, and until I saw what you were proposing this last week, I was never ashamed of this town, but I am now.
This may be scary. Oh, I'm Connie Scott, 392 McKell Road. I'm speaking extemporaneously, and that could be a scary situation. You know, Dustin. I think tonight has been amazing. The attention and the involvement of the group and the positiveness of people having different opinions. That's a very good thing. I think this legislation is going to make something wonderful happen in this community if we can gear this to continue. Obviously, there are things that can be done. Why haven't they been done before? I've been out of education for about 19 years. I've been retired. I have not been involved in stuff like this because I was grading papers. But why hasn't this been taken care of? Why are you saying we have this group and this gifts group and we got this? We have schools that have been torn down and we have schools that have been... Give me a chance. I'm old. I have to be able to concentrate. And I want to say something powerful here. Okay. We have all this working for us, and it had to be because legislation was put forth to help people not to be afraid to walk down Chiillicothe. It was put together so we could sustain this concept of being one of the 10 best small cities in Ohio to visit. I want that. I also want these people to have places to live. I want them to be taken care of. I think we all have the quality of mercy in us. All of us do. Some of us see it differently than others. There was a quality of mercy to this legislation that was put forth together. And these comments from these different people, mercy is there. Now, is there a committee going to be established to get this fixed? Whoever's in charge of committees, is that the community action people behind me? I love creating charts. Give me your names, give me your organizations, and I'll create a chart and I'll organize you, and then I'll step aside because I am not a social worker. But I'm a teacher and I can get things done. Now it's your turn to get things done, working together. Let's not criticize each other. Let's not put these people down because they wanted to solve a problem. Let's work together. Let's fix it. Republicans, Democrats, come together. Get this fixed. We want to sustain our image and improve our image. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I like it. Elephant demonstration. Elephant dog. All join.
Hey everybody, my name is Tanya Johnson. I live in the homeless shelter. I've been homeless for about 5 years with my son. And wages here in Ross County are terrible. I came from Columbus making $25 an hour on the roof. I'm down here, they want to pay you $15. If you can get a job being a woman. Landlords don't want to work with us. I have a felony at 7 years old. But what am I going to do if nobody's willing to work with me? We've been in the shelter for 5 months. I want a home. Thank you.
My name's Will Woods, and I've been homeless for about 2 years. I don't believe that when you're up, you should put people farther down. This is going to be short. And when you're up, you're supposed to lift people up, not put them farther down. All this is going to do is make homeless people feel like, well, I'm already committing a crime. Why shouldn't I commit more crimes? There it is. I mean, that's where it's at.
Well, thank you all for that participation. You come? Yep, we've got one more.
You get them all.
My name's Christina Arredondo. I live at 395 Allen Avenue in the city. Did you hear that, Mom? I'm not his mom, but I play that role. For free. I work part-time as a counselor, and then I take the rest of my time in the afternoon and in the evening, and I dedicate it to trying to help people. That's what I do. I run the Ross County Recovery and Outreach Center. There is no answer. We don't have any good answers. We have absolutely no funding for food, but manage to serve 60 to 85 meals a day. 6 days a week. We have no funding, but we opened a prevention center to focus on our children because we don't have services. We want to work with the developmental disabilities that suffer with substance use disorder and mental health disorders because we don't have those services. We're looking at starting youth programming for kids because as a counselor, 90% of the folks that I work with have suffered with major trauma. They've suffered with major abuse. And at 17 years old, they would get your sympathy. But at 19 years old, Shane won't. He didn't cause this. I know his history. I know Nathan's history. I know Bill's history. I know him because I sat with him every single day. No one pays me to do this. That's what our city council is about. I don't understand how we can't come up with some kind of solution together. But like he's saying, that committee, where's that committee? Why can't we come up with a solution? We can figure out how to house them for 30 days if they commit a crime. Then we can figure out how to house them for 6 months if they commit another one. Why can't we figure out a solution together? Why can't you just have a conversation with some of them? They're hurting. They're broken. I see it every single day. 90% started at 8 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old. Horrendous, horrendous trauma. Every single day. I could tell you Shane's story, but I'm not going to, because that's no one else's business. But I can promise you that most of you wouldn't have survived it. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you for the audience participation. We'll now go on to old business. Does anyone have any old business that they'd like to bring up this evening? Not seeing any. Participation and correspondence received by the clerk.
I have received a liquor license request, and I'll forward this on to the appropriate people and get it signed and turned in. Sorry. The request is for Parmar Oil Company, doing business as Parmar Oil Company, 129 Western Avenue, Chiillicothe.
Then the new business. Does any have any new business that they'd like to bring up at this time? Anyone want to discuss suspending the second meeting of July due to absences? First meeting on the second Monday, sorry.
Shouldn't you take your vacations, coordinate that so business can still continue?
I would bring that up with the members that are going on vacation.
Well, it's on the table to discuss, right? Yep. That's my question.
That sounds like a better alternative than Ms. Nickerson, is potentially move it in private. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
I would like to thank everybody in the audience for coming and participating in this. And hopefully we can participate more in the future and come up with some answers. Thank you all.
President Geringer, I'd like to make a very brief announcement. A couple of folks mentioned a community committee. There is actually one that is in progress. The committee is going to be meeting in late July. Oh, sorry. So there is a committee that has been starting to be developed to look into a lot of the issues that have been brought up tonight. And I'm very excited to, like I said, the first meeting will happen in later July, and hopefully we will have a lot of progress at that very first meeting so that we can have more answers. And we have reached out to, or the committee has reached out to numerous resources in the community. So thank you all for those ideas, and thank you for those that are contributing. And we look forward to helping. So that hasn't been established yet. They haven't even had an inaugural meeting or anything. They haven't gotten that far. So there hasn't been anyone elected or anything like this. This is a completely voluntary, community organized committee. This has nothing to do with council. I just know of its organization. I'm sorry? I can, so Julie Bolin and I connected and started working on this. So whether I'll be the one that council appoints, I don't know. We haven't, like I said, we haven't gotten that far, but I wanted to let you know that there is something in progress to help with this. So in cooperation with Ross County Community Action.
Sorry about that. In light of tonight's speakers from the community, in light of what Ms. Henderson just said about the formation of a possible committee, that's something that I was about to suggest to the mayor, that a task force be formed that would include members of the community and members of council and members of the administration, because I think that there is a good momentum here tonight that needs to carry on to actually find a real and meaningful solution. And also, as a part of that, because of these things, I would like to make a motion to not to table item number 6 until we can review it in greater degree.
I second that.
Ms. Preston, we'll discuss that offline, align dates, and then call an emergency meeting. So, anything else, Mr. Mayor? So from there, we'll move on to our legislation. We have 20 items on our agenda this evening, 19 items on our agenda this evening. Ms. Moss, whenever you're ready, please start with item number 1.
Item number 1 is the third reading of a resolution expressing cooperation and granting use of a certain portion of East 2nd Street to the Downtown Chiillicothe organization for its Oktoberfest event.
Roll call on the resolution.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Hope Partnership and appropriating $20,000 for the Ross County Reentry Coalition.
So I would like to make a motion to amend that. There's an error in the Ross County Reentry Coalition is a different entity than the Hope Partnership. That needs to be deleted.
Farrow?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Motion to amend pass. That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is the first reading of an ordinance accepting the relocation of a drainage easement and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Farrow.
Since this item has been approved by the Planning Commission as well as signed off on by the city engineer, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Mr. Prohl. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read.
Prohl?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion to waive the 3-read rule is passed. Roll call on the resolution, or on the ordinance.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
The ordinance is passed. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is a resolution authorizing the appropriation of funds in the amount of $7,709 as participating local funds for the Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission on behalf of the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, for the fiscal year 2023 and declaring an emergency.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is the first reading of an ordinance amending section 505.14 of the codified ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe as it pertains to livestock being kept or harbored within the corporation limits of the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is the first reading of an ordinance.
Mr. Geringer.
Yes.
I would like to commit this legislation for further study.
Motion to table, seconded by Mr. Prohl. Roll call on the motion to table the ordinance.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Committed back to the...
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I thought she said committed, and I thought it needed table. Committed? Okay.
Committed
Sorry.
back to the committee. Okay.
The motion to commit the ordinance, seconded by Mr. Farrow. Roll call on the motion to commit.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Certainly, yes.
That motion is passed. Item number 7.
Item number 7 is the first read of an ordinance declaring a real and present emergency, waiving the formal bidding and advertising procedure with regard to the City Administration Building boiler project, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Farrow?
To keep the city employees warm this winter, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Mr. Prohl. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Payne,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
That motion is passed. Roll call on the ordinance.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed. Item number 8.
Item number 8 is the first reading of an ordinance reappropriating funds for the 2019 CDBG formula allocation grant and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Farrow?
In sake of getting the contractor paid, I'd like to ask that we waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Ms. Nickerson. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Preston,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Roll call on the ordinance.
Prohl.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, I'm sorry, Nickerson.
Yes.
I knew that was going to happen eventually.
Motion passes again.
My bad, guys. My apologies.
Roll call on the ordinance.
Prohl,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
The ordinance passes. Item number 9.
Item number 9 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating $36,730 for flood wall pump repairs and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Farrow?
In sake of getting the contractor paid, I would like to make a motion that we waive the 3-read rule on this item.
Seconded by Ms. Nickerson. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
The motion passes. Roll call on the ordinance.
Park,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
That ordinance passes. Item number 10.
Item number 10 is the first reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating $500 from a stipend received by the police chief to attend crisis intervention training.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 11.
Item number 11 is an ordinance accepting and appropriating funds in the amount of $1,301.20 for police overtime.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 12.
Item number 12 is the first reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating funds in the amount of $1,468.99 for the police department uniforms and body armor.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 13.
Item number 13 is an ordinance accepting and appropriating insurance reimbursement funds in the amount of $22,177 for the replacement of a totaled police department cruiser.
That item will move to our next agenda. Item number 14.
Item number 14 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Walter H. Drain Company to update the codified ordinances of the city of Chiillicothe, to prepare 20 sets of replacement pages, to update the code on the internet, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Geringer,
Yes, Ms.
I would
President.
like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on this item.
Seconded by Mr. Farrow. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Payne,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
The motion passes. Roll call on the ordinance.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. Item number 15.
Item number 15 is the first reading of an ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the Chiillicothe codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Geringer,
Yes.
I would like to have make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on this item.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Roll call on the ordinance.
Park,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed. Item number 16.
Item number 16 is a first reading of an ordinance appropriating $9,518, just kidding, $9,514.85 in insurance funds received as security as the result of a structure fire at 375 West Water Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
President Geringer, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Motion by Ms. Henderson, seconded by Mr. Prohl. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Payne,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Motion passes. Roll call on the ordinance.
Farrow,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed. Item number 17.
Item number 17 is the first reading of an ordinance declaring a real and present emergency and waiving the formal bidding and advertising procedure with regard to the sewer repair project at the intersection of Water and Watt Streets and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Farrow.
To speed up this process, I will once again ask for your support to waive the 3-read rule.
Seconded by Ms. Payne. Roll call on the motion.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Motion passes. Roll call on the ordinance.
Prohl,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson, Payne.
Yes.
The ordinance passes. Item number 18.
Item number 18 is the first reading of a resolution adopting the tax budget for the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2023, submitting the same to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
President Geringer, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to we waive the 3-read rule.
Motion by Ms. Henderson, seconded by Ms. Payne. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Park,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Nickerson. Payne.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Roll call on the resolution.
Henderson.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Item number 18. 19, sorry.
Item number 19 is the first reading of an ordinance addressing the provisions of amended substitute House Bill 172 concerning the right of municipalities to retain the regulations and prohibitions on the discharge, ignition, and exploding of fireworks that existed prior to the enactment of amended substitute House Bill 172 and declaring an emergency.
President Geringer,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on this.
Motion by Ms. Preston, seconded by Ms. Henderson. Roll call on the motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Prohl.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Motion passes. Roll call on the ordinance.
Henderson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
The ordinance passes. That's the completion of the legislation. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring up at this time? Yes.
It's been brought to my attention that when I blurted something out and then everybody clapped, I did not have my microphone on, so the public audience, I've done this before, does not know why everybody was clapping. So I just would like to take this moment to repeat that the Air Commission, which is the body that was formed to give recommendations about the closure of VAs across the country, through a joint statement from Senators Portman and Brown today, they have announced that the Air Commission will not be brought back together, effectively ensuring that the Chiillicothe VA will remain open. So I just want to...
Outstanding. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Motion by Ms. Henderson, seconded by Ms. Payne. Roll call on the motion.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Park.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
We are